On the 22nd of May 2026, this is News Tonight, and my name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. Elizabeth Nakakuni is already there with sign language. But first though, let's look at the top stories.
The news headlines are brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
In our headlines tonight, Africa, CDC briefs President Museveni on current Ebola status. NRM opens Speaker, Deputy Speakeress as SEC calls for expressions of interest. Energy Ministry warns of gradual fuel prices and increase amid market pressures. And lastly, Ebola pandemic to limit DRC funds at the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
Were brought to you by the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda. Keep your information up to date with your regulated financial institution. Customer deposits are protected up to 10 million Ugandan shillings. Terms and conditions apply.
Again, thank you so much for allowing us into your space and joining us. Now into the news. President Museveni today met with a delegation from the Africa Centers of Disease Control and Prevention at State House Entebbe to receive a briefing on the Ebola outbreak. The delegation reported that the situation is currently being managed. Now, during the meeting, the Africa CDC Director General Dr. Jean Kaseya proposed the establishment of a continental incident management support team for Ebola to be based in Kampala to improve coordination and monitoring. President Museveni accepted the proposal and offered Uganda's full support for the initiative. The president stated that Ebola is a manageable condition provided that sufficient attention is dedicated to the response efforts. Presently, Uganda hasn't registered any local Ebola case. And of course, standard operating procedures still need to be followed by you, by me. Now, looking at NRM SEC meeting, the National Resistance Movement NRM Central Executive Committee has resolved to invite all party members interested in contesting for the positions of Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Parliament to formally express their interest with the Party Electoral Commission. The decision was reached during a Central Executive Committee meeting held on Friday 22nd, that is today, May 2026, at State House Entebbe.
Called by the chairman of SEC, who is none other than the President of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
The Central Executive Committee meeting, which has convened this afternoon at Entebbe State House, has resolved to open up the speakership and deputy speakership race in the 12th Parliament to all party members.
The first National Vice Chairperson attended, Alhaji Moses Chigongo. The second National Vice Chairperson sent apology. The letter was read to SEC, indicating that she is not able because she is indisposed. And that apology was received and accepted. Chairperson of NRM Electoral Commission, who is a member of SEC, attended. The Secretary General, the Deputy National Treasurer and the National Treasurer all attended as members of SEC. We had a quorum of 23 members. Other members who attended are the guests of the Chairman of SEC, the former Vice President or the current, the Vice President, the Prime Minister, and even the Deputy Speaker, Right Honorable Tayeba, attended. SEC resolved that since the Right Honorable Anita Among had withdrawn from the race and had written to the chairman of the party a letter which was read to SEC, there was need to start the process afresh. So SEC rescinded its earlier decision, its earlier recommendation of Right Honorable Anita Among and Right Honorable Tayebwa.
According to the NRM Electoral Commission Chairperson, Dr. Tango Doi, this exercise will conclude on Saturday 23rd May 2026 and will be welcoming all party members.
That means Honorable Tayebwa is free to apply. because he has not expressed unwillingness to continue. And other members are also willing or free to come in. The right Honorable Minister Oboth and others who are interested. So long as they are NRM and they are members of the 12th Parliament. From today up to 7, expression of interest starts. Tomorrow at 8, we shall be here to receive any of them who comes, up to 3 p.m. We shall then compile the list and present the detailed list of their CVs to SEC on Sunday.
The do's and the don'ts have been also decided in the Central Executive Committee meeting held on the Friday of the 22nd May 2026.
No candidate is allowed to campaign. No candidate is allowed to bribe voters. No candidate is allowed to even collect a meeting of NRM MPs anywhere. And once we get that candidate or that aspirant, that is for automatic disqualification. Once we get evidence which we can actually legally defend, that this person has collected people, has given money, has done this, in the space of time we have, that person shall be disqualified.
The NRM Electoral Commission Chairperson Dr. Tango Doi has informed UBC that the caucus will be convening on the same Sunday in the afternoon to rubber stamp the 2 candidates who will be forwarded to the whole house, convening on the 25th of May 2026 at Kololo Ceremonial Grounds to vote the Speaker and the Deputy.
The moment the party says the following aspirants are the candidates, those are the ones which are represented in Kololo. They must be people with a very good legal background. They must be people who belong to the party called NRM, who are voted on the ticket of NRM, and who are current members of the 12th Parliament.
The process of arriving at 2 candidates for the slots of Speaker and Deputy for the 12th Parliament is a process which has raised dust within the NRM party. Many candidates, mainly members of Parliament, have expressed interest in these 2 slots.
Right Honorable Anita put it in writing that she is no longer interested in contesting for Speaker of Parliament and will support a position, any of the candidates that SEC will have recommended. She will even lead as a front runner in campaigning for that candidate.
I'm Robert Onyango for UBC News here at the NRM Electoral Commission offices.
But cannot participate.
Well, let the right man win in that race. Now, the involvement of the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, in Uganda's anti-corruption fight is drawing strong political backing as senior government officials and Patriotic League of Uganda figures describing it as a special operation. Again, let's hear more from Onyango Robert.
It is now 7 days since the anti-joint corruption operation targeting former Speaker of Parliament Anita was launched. The operation, which began on Saturday, has seen security agencies seize key items including vehicles, documents, CCTV footage and money from several residences linked to the former Speaker of Parliament, including premises at Parliament. While the move has been widely welcomed, it has also sparked concern over the involvement of the Chief of Defense Forces, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, in the ongoing process.
My sincere appreciation to General MK for having discharged his constitutional patriotic duty of leading UPDF to crack a whip against corruption. Our prayer, the prayer of all Ugandans, is that this must go a long way until a logical conclusion.
However, government maintains that all actions taken are strictly guided by law.
When he discharges his roles, responsibilities and mandate as the Chief of Defense Forces of the Republic of Uganda, he does that guided by the UPDF Act as amended.
According to Frank Gashumba, a Central Committee member of the Patriotic League of Uganda, General Muhoozi's role in the anti-corruption fight is by demand, not by style.
When you hear anybody challenging General MK's role in fighting broad daylight robbery or thuggery, he must be participant.
The outgoing Minister of State for Regional Cooperation, John Mulimba, and Government Chief Whip, Den Samson Obua, both urge that extraordinary times sometimes requires extraordinary interventions.
When he tweets as chairman of PLU, in that case, he is tweeting as chairperson of PLU. When he tweets as senior presidential advisor in charge of special operations. And I told you special operations is like using reasonable force in law. When one says I use reasonable force, is never defined in law. It does not have the starting limit and the end limit of reasonable force.
Let Ugandans visit the Constitution under Article 208 and look at the duties of UPDF. Among others, UPDF is required to be patriotic. Corruption is among protecting the national property. So if there's anybody who had an illusion and either misgiving and asking why UPDF is discharging her mandate under the Constitution, under Article 208, and of course, also, as you are aware.
Gashumba further notes that in the current anti-corruption drive, Genome House is operating in support of lead government agencies, including the police.
By the way, UPDF is not carrying out these investigations. It's CID, led by Magambo. Criminal Investigations Department. It's headed by Magambo. It's Magambo leading these investigations. And he has carried out similar investigations before. It's not General MK that is leading this investigation. General MK is a whistleblower.
The leadership of the Patriotic League of Uganda, a group led by Genome House Kanilugaba, has also dismissed allegations that it is holding the NRM party at ransom.
Who is the president of Uganda? General Yoweri Museveni. He's the commander-in-chief and the chairman of NRM. We don't have... PLU does not have MPs in parliament because PLU is not a political party. Anybody who says that PLU has taken over, he's a dreamer. Museveni is still in charge of this country.
Meanwhile, at the NRM Secretariat, our attempts to obtain a comment on the unfolding political developments were largely unsuccessful, with officials maintaining silence, except for a few outspoken voices.
PLU, to me, is a pressure group within NRM. PLU is a pressure group within NRM. And I don't see any problem with the PLU laying pressure on NRM. But that PLU has taken over? No. The president of Uganda, who is a flag bearer of NRM, is Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Now again, as we step back into Ebola issue, looking at partners, the Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Atwine, has assured the public that the country currently has no confirmed positive Ebola case. Speaking during a partners engagement meeting attended by government officials, a delegation of ambassadors and international health partners from various countries, Dr. Atwine emphasized the need for continued preparedness against possible Ebola outbreak.
The Ministry of Health has stepped up its nationwide Ebola prevention drive, intensifying community sensitization efforts aimed at strengthening public awareness and early response to the disease. In Kamocha, health officials carried out an extensive outreach campaign, engaging residents on Ebola prevention, early warning signs, and the importance of strict hygiene practices.
Ekituleese wano kikwogera ddala ensonga enkulu kulaba nga tusomesa abantu ku kulwanyisa obulwadde bwonna. Mu ggwanga lyaffe lino tukyayina abalwadde bangi, tulina burden y'obulwadde bungi. Kati mu mbeera eyo twemphasizinga kye tuyita primary prevention, kwe kusomesa abantu ne babeera ne information mu kulwanyisa obulwadde.
Residents stand up in large numbers for free medical checkups, counseling sessions and health education provided by medical teams, all focused on safeguarding communities against any possible outbreak. Speaking during the exercise, stakeholders stressed that continuous community outreach remains vital in closing the gaps between health workers and the public, especially when dealing with infectious diseases such as Ebola.
Gradually, we have tried to, through the different partnerships, we are overcoming the challenges slowly by slowly, the funding, the community mobilization. We get to know which times are best to come to, like the ghetto youth.
Health experts further urged residents to remain vigilant, maintain proper hygiene, immediately report any suspected symptoms, and always seek care from authorized health facilities. Meanwhile, residents welcomed the outreach but called on the government to expand such free medical services and improve access to affordable health care within Kamocha and surrounding areas.
One of the outcries of the young people are being charged to access health services. But if we have services like this coming, let us try to actively participate. Let us try to mobilize our communities, bring our family members in order to benefit from this opportunity.
And of course, still about Ebola, some of the longing questions in people's minds to be answered in a short while. An Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has raised concerns among experts, having detected the disease late and the pace at which it's spreading speedily. The Ministry of Health has registered 2 imported cases of Ebola virus disease involving Congolese nationals who arrived from the DRC after exposure to the virus. Now, this is what you need to know about Ebola virus.
This is what you need to know about Ebola. Ebola virus disease is a severe and often fatal illness transmitted through direct contact with blood. This is the most infectious fluid or body fluids of an infected person or deceased person, contaminated surfaces or materials, infected animals. These are the common signs and symptoms of Ebola: nausea and vomiting, severe headache, cough, rash, diarrhea, unexplained bleeding, chest pain, fever and red eyes. Any learner, teacher or staff presenting with these symptoms should immediately be isolated and reported to health authorities.
Again, standard operating procedures are to be put in place. Wash your hands thoroughly, avoid shaking hands, and of course all others involved in there. Now, as we look into the Director of Public Prosecutions, the DPP presser, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions has announced a temporary suspension of criminal case proceedings nationwide next week. Now, this follows the convening of prosecutors in Kampala for the 2026 Annual Prosecutors Symposium. Speaking at the DPP headquarters, the Director of Public Prosecutors, Lino Anguzo, said that the pause in court activity will allow prosecutors from across the country to participate in the Training and Professional Development Forum.
Following the symposium, the Office of the DPP will host the 8th Joan Kagezi Memorial Lecture. This annual lecture is held in remembrance of the late Joan Namazi Kagezi, a courageous Assistant Director of Public Prosecutions, who was tragically murdered in 2015 in the line of duty. Her legacy remains a powerful symbol of integrity, courage, and unwavering commitment to justice. This year's memorial lecture will be held under the theme Prosecution as a Catalyst for Economic Transformation, Safety and Public Trust. This theme reflects the evolving role of prosecution beyond just securing convictions, but to safeguarding economic stability, strengthening national security, and fostering public confidence in the justice system.
The Judiciary has brought together key justice sector players and alternative dispute resolution ADR users in a high-level engagement aimed at fast-tracking the peaceful settlement of land disputes. Now, the meeting is setting the center stage of the upcoming settlement fortnight, with a strong push for faster, cheaper and more amicable resolutions to some of Uganda's most contested cases.
Now my great pleasure to declare this High Court Land Division pre-fortnight settlement ADR users round table opened.
The judiciary is ramping up efforts to improve the handling and resolution of land disputes through stronger case management and alternative dispute resolution mechanisms ahead of the upcoming settlement fortnight. Speaking during an engagement with justice sector stakeholders and alternative dispute resolution ADR users, the Principal Judge Lady Justice Francis Abodo called on judicial officers to adopt a more proactive approach in handling land matters. She emphasized timely rulings, effective case management, and the prompt delivery of judgments.
Opportunities, and I think most importantly to strengthen the collaboration between us, because sometimes that can also cause problems, so that we see how we can deliver faster, fairer, and of course more meaningful justice to the people that we serve. So a central focus of this roundtable and of the upcoming settlement fortnight is the increased and more effective use of ADR. And I think we are focusing on mediation.
She noted that expediting land cases is key to restoring public confidence in the judiciary, while also easing the growing backlog in courts across the country.
Many of these cases do not need to really drag in the system for so long. They drag in the system and they have ripple effects. And the effects are always not very, very good because they touch all of us. So I want to strongly encourage the judges, the mediators, counsel present here to proactively identify cases which you think should go for mediation at the earliest stage possible.
Meanwhile, the head of the High Court Land Division, Lady Justice Damali Lwanga, highlighted the current state of land disputes within the division, expressing the judiciary's readiness for the upcoming settlement fortnight initiative.
Since this year began, 3,692 new matters have been registered. 655 of these went also for mediation. Of the 3,692 land matters that have been registered since the year began, 655 of them went for mediation.
The initiative is expected to enhance the amicable resolution of land conflicts, which remain among the most common cases before Ugandan courts. Charity Marion Imnat and Viola Nansovga reporting for UBC News.
Well, thank you once again. Now, still with the judiciary warnings, the judiciary has asked litigants and other court users to dress appropriately when appearing in court as part of new responsibilities in the Judiciary Client Charter 2024-2029, aimed at improving discipline, efficiency, and the administration of justice.
Under the new chapter, court users are prohibited from wearing outfits with offensive writings, drawings or signs while on court premises. The charter reads, dress decently in court and its premises and not wear outfits with offensive writings, drawings or signs. These are the guidelines. Dress decently and avoid outfits with offensive writings and drawings. Switch off or keep mobile phones silent during court proceedings. Do not shout, chant, sing or engage in rowdy behavior. Avoid vending, idling or loitering around court compounds. Do not eat in court unless permitted by the judicial officer. Report to court on time for hearing. The judiciary has also pledged to provide a safe and accessible working environment, uphold integrity, preserve court records, and ensure courteous treatment of court users.
Now, Uganda's sports industry is no longer just about competition and entertainment. It is fast emerging as a serious economic powerhouse from new infrastructure projects and improved road networks to rising tourism and expanding business opportunities. And of course, sports investments are now reshaping communities across the country. The government sets its sights on a $500 billion economy. Officials believe sports could play a key role in driving the ambition forward.
This is how the Kapchorwa-Bukwa Road once looked. Rough, dusty, and difficult to navigate. During the rainy season, sections would become slippery and nearly impassable. But the establishment of the High Altitude Training Center in Teriet has transformed the landscape. The once isolated Sebei sub-region is now attracting tourists, athletes, and investors.
The road is very, very beautifully made. First-class tarmac road, which has transformed the lives of the people.
New economic activity is emerging along the route, with hotels, restaurants, and transport businesses springing up to serve the growing flow of visitors. During the 2024 launch of the facility, President Yoweri Museveni emphasized the role of sports in driving economic transformation.
These people of ours who are born in the mountains, in the high areas, they have a natural capacity which we should promote.
That view was echoed by the First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Janet Kataha Museveni, who underscored the wider development impact of sports investments.
We must now correct what we have seen so far that needs a little more work put into it, so that we can be confident when we have foreign visitors coming to train here, that we are sending them to a place we are confident about.
The ripple effects are also being felt in Hoima, Lira, Arua, Fort Portal, and Kampala metropolitan area, where new sports infrastructure is triggering road works and urban expansion.
What has been lacking us is the infrastructure investment. That's a stadium, and in terms of training facilities, running tracks. But finally, Akibwa is on course to be ready by December. Hoima finished. Nambole by December will be ready. Now we have Teriet. Now we are going to plan for another in Fort Photo, another in Eastern Uganda. So in terms of the sports tourism, in terms of the achieving of that 500 billion target, tenfold growth within the sports subsector, I can tell you I might even contribute about 15%.
Ogwang says AFCON 2027 presents a major economic opportunity for Uganda, with sports expected to significantly contribute to national development targets.
If we say, which I'm very sure, we are going to have over 1.5 million people here. Even if we take an average of 1 million, if that 1 million people entered into Uganda and each of them just spent, even if it's $10,000, even if it's $5,000, do you know how much money are we living here? That's $500 billion. They remain in this economy.
This aligns with the perspective of former Trade Minister Harriet Ntabazi, who links sustained growth to expanded exports, infrastructure development, and industrialization.
The coffee has gone up, cocoa has gone up. We are now taking out very many things in terms of things that we produce here in the country.
She emphasizes innovation and industrial growth as key drivers of long-term economic transformation.
With the 10 cities that we have and the agenda that the country has shown, with the ICT and the innovations that we put in place, with the manufacturing of the drugs, with the buses that have been made here, and all the things, and the cleanliness that we are, the trade order that we are putting, Uganda is going to grow.
With sports tourism opening up remote regions and boosting international visibility, Kapchorwa is now attracting elite athletes seeking world-class, high-altitude training facilities. Communities along these corridors are also already benefiting from new jobs and accommodation services to expanded transport businesses.
Whether I'm there or I'm not there, I am very sure we have a plan to achieve it in line with NDP4.
Uganda's sports sector is steadily evolving into a powerful economic engine. What was once seen purely as recreation is now driving infrastructure, tourism, and investment growth. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you very much there, Henry Okrut, for that detailed report. Now, the 14th East African Community Armed Forces Command Post exercise has ended in Nairobi, with the East African Community troops pledging stronger joint readiness for peacekeeping and regional security.
Of these particular events is that
for 2 weeks, East African Community troops conducted field and staff drills in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. The exercise also reinforced the East African Community's forces' commitment to deepening defense cooperation under the bloc's protocol on peace and security.
Together, let us make this occasion not only a milestone in training, but also a celebration of the enduring bonds that we unite us as one East African family.
The exercise brought together the army, police, and specialized units focused on coordinating rapid responses to regional security threats, humanitarian emergencies, and cross-border challenges.
Kenya, for the hospitality, has accorded us right from when we came in up to the end of this exercise. I thank the government of Uganda, especially Uganda Defense Forces, for making sure that we are moving at the same pace with the other East African community.
But I'm proud to say that we've been able to work together and delivered on our mandate. I would like to expressly thank the government of Uganda for enabling us as the police forces of the Uganda Police Force to come and take part in this exercise.
Force Commander Brigadier General Ernest Nwagaba said the exercise strengthened defense cooperation and trust among partner forces.
Of course, to the Commander-in-Chief, he has been I think he has been at it to make sure that the integration dream.
The drill tested command systems, logistics, and information sharing to improve rapid response to security and humanitarian emergencies.
The mission has been very beneficial to the civilians, including myself, because we play different roles. Where I was in charge of controlling the exercise under the exercise director.
Haruna Ntesasira, UBC News.
Well, thank you, Haruna. Now, again, into Parliament. Government has been tasked to provide for a national policy on menstrual health. In an initiative dubbed Youth Mock Parliament on Menstruation Hygiene Management, stakeholders want menstrual hygiene to be treated as a national rather than a private matter. Let's hear more in this report.
Youth from various universities and schools, in partnership with civil society organizations, constituted themselves into parliamentarians for a mock plenary sitting to discuss the way forward for menstrual health care in Uganda. The Youth Mock Parliament on Menstrual Hygiene Management was chaired by Takali Betty, a law student at Uganda Christian University.
We have the structures, let's say UNSA, let's say the National Youth Council, and the people within these structures can actually take the mandate or the responsibility to carry out education. Because when we look at things like stigma, where boys laugh at girls because they're in their menstruation, it's because they do not have the information.
The debate sought solutions to the increasing school dropout rates among girls resulting from menstrual hygiene challenges. Participants amplified calls for action against stigma and discrimination faced by girls and women during menstruation.
The statistics from the study say that 61.7% of girls miss school during menstruation. And that's an alarm for us. If we want to achieve the NDP4 objectives.
A section of members of parliament who attended the Youth Mock Parliament plenary pledged to lobby the 12th Parliament to prioritize increased budget allocations for menstrual hygiene management.
My take-home should be that we should have reusable pads that are not going to affect the environment, because we are dumping everywhere. Like now these days, the young ones, we have these Pampers. Pampers. I don't know where they are. Are they recycling them? Where do they go? I'm talking of science, technology, and innovation. All these things are affecting the environment.
The challenge remains more prevalent in rural areas where many families are battling poverty and parents are forced to choose between buying food and providing menstrual hygiene products for their children.
So generally we are seeing that the price for sanitary pads is a bit high compared to the average earnings of families. These sanitary pads cost, the list is 3,500. It goes up to 10,000, and you find that most families cannot afford that.
Then would also like to make recommendations to the different departments which are directly into this implementation. The education sector. Prioritize the menstrual health management as part of your curriculum. Foster the students, especially at the puberty stage. They should be fostered with knowledge, empowered about menstrual hygiene.
Mondo Chateka, the Commissioner for Youth and Children Affairs at the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, said government programs aimed at boosting household incomes, such as the parish development model, could strengthen families' financial capacity to provide menstrual hygiene products.
2050, Africa will be home to 2.5 billion human beings, majority of whom are the girl children. And so when we are talking about NDP4 and we are prioritizing human capital development, we cannot talk about human capital development with high levels of young girls dropping out of school.
Stakeholders have called on government to establish a national policy on menstrual hygiene and related health services to improve service delivery and keep young girls in school.
So I implore my colleague who's coming in the 12th Parliament, a policy should be developed on this so that our children, our women, our mothers are all safe and they are able to do productive work.
Good morning, everyone.
Now looking at friends of AA, supporters of former Speaker of Parliament Anita Among and their pressure group Friends of Mose and AAA have condemned sections of the media and online bloggers, accusing them of using the current investigations and public debate to tarnish the image of AAA and damage Uganda's reputation internationally. Let's hear more in this report.
Here as Team President Museveni, Anita Among diehards, First and foremost, we thank our President, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni Tibuhaburwa, NRM party, Ugandans at large, with the friends of Right Honorable Anita Among, we wish to state that we stand in complete solidarity with her, affirming our unwavering support and absolute confidence that she will overcome her current challenges. We are confident that His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, is a strong believer in the rule of law and upholds it to the letter of dear friend Anita Among in the eyes of the law.
Bloggers and the journalists within our country, kindly please, we are painting our country with a bad image. Let's not tarnish our image of the country. Uganda, this is a part of Africa. Let's love our country. Let's be patriotic. Let's not taint our colleagues with bad images. Today it's me, tomorrow is you.
Because we know together we can overcome each and everything. So I call upon everybody, all well-wishers of Right Honorable Anita Among, to come and we sit as a family together.
And that's it for today. Till the next episode.
Like a daily bando. Omuliro nguwulira muli mu mutima kukankana like drums. Kalakata, enendungo ya kusabula. Mikono juu, free your fire, free your fire, free your fire.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312 206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
We protect your money. Protection Fund of Uganda.
It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
Alright, listen up. Colgate is on a mission.
It's kind of a big thing.
Colgate Herbal uses traditional nature turf and combines it with Colgate Science for healthy gums and strong teeth.
And at 47 minutes, we start off still with a speakership race. Now the race for Speaker of Uganda's 12th Parliament is intensifying with a vote set for Monday, 25th May 2026, and candidates now making their final push for support. Paul Mwiru, the National Unity Platform flag bearer, has pledged a parliament defined by transparency, accountability, and a firm stand against corruption. Let's hear more.
The struggle.
The race for Speaker of Uganda's 12th Parliament is intensifying ahead of Monday's election, with candidates stepping up their campaigns and outlining their visions for the next House. The National Unity Platform candidate for Speaker, Paul Mwiru, says Parliament must rebuild public trust through accountability, transparency and responsible leadership. Speaking to journalists at the NUP headquarters in Makerere Kavule, Mwiru said Parliament has over time lost public confidence due to corruption and leaders prioritizing personal interests over national concerns.
We will uphold accountability and the rule of law by ensuring budget discipline, stamping out wasteful expenditure, redirecting money for donations and corporate social responsibility to the parliamentary committees where members actually do work for Parliament.
Pledged that if elected, he would steer Parliament towards serving citizens and strengthening oversight of public resources.
Accountability to the public and ensure adaptation of a public disclosure policy where Parliament will periodically publish its output and attainment costs so that the public can hold their leaders to account. Equity and inclusivity. Countrymen and women, all members of Parliament are equal. That's why we refer to each other as peers among equals. However, recent experience indicates that Parliament has been infested with cliques, cartels, originated few, at the expense of the greater collective.
Mwiru further emphasized that restoring integrity and ending what he termed investment in non-productive ventures would be central to his agenda as Speaker.
My candidature is the antidote to this malpractice. As the chairperson of the Parliamentary Commission, I will ensure that there is equity and inclusivity in the welfare of members of Parliament and staff of Parliament by standardizing the benefits. The practice of leaders taking the lion's share will have no place in my leadership.
With the Speaker and Deputy Speaker elections scheduled for Monday 25th May 2026, during the first sitting of the 12th Parliament, Mwiru has appealed to members of Parliament across political divides to back his candidature, saying the country needs a House that reflects the aspirations of ordinary Ugandans.
The only avenue for informal interaction is the Parliamentary Sports Club, which is infested with cliques and arbitrary use of available resources. And because the expansion of the members' interaction beyond the sports club to various social clubs to cater for the categories of members.
Meanwhile, the speakership race remains highly competitive, drawing candidates from different political formations, including the National Resistance Movement Jacob Oboth and the Democratic Party's Norbert Mao, as the contest heads into its decisive stage.
Now more on Ebola. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Diana Atwine, has assured the public that the country currently has no confirmed positive Ebola case. Speaking during a partners engagement meeting attended by government officials and a delegation of ambassadors and international health partners from various countries, Dr. Atwine emphasized the need for continued preparedness against the possible Ebola outbreak.
Shortly, I would want to give him some time.
Early this month, the World Health Organization declared an outbreak along the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo border. On May 15, 2026, Uganda confirmed the outbreak after a traveler from the DRC died in Kampala.
In Africa CDC, when an outbreak is in one country, it's the responsibility of the government to declare, to manage. once the outbreak crosses the border, it's in more than one country, it's our responsibility.
The Ugandan government has since issued new guidelines aimed at preventing the spread of Ebola in communities across the country. Health officials said the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola presents unique challenges in both the prevention and the containment efforts.
We encourage regional approach. This Ebola poses a unique experience in our response. In Uganda, as I talk, the patient we had in our isolation tested negative. We have not registered any other positive in the country.
The Ministry of Health, together with the implementing and the development partners, has intensified the efforts to mobilize resources for Ebola prevention and response activities across Uganda over the next 3 months.
This outbreak response will be led in Africa by Africans with the support of international partners. And P.S., I just want to assure you this is absolutely where the UK is.
As part of the United States and our long-standing partnership with Uganda and with the Health Ministry, we are proud to be supporting with immediate response.
The ministry will require 9,037,240,000 Ugandan shillings for coordination and leadership, 9,211,181,000 Ugandan shillings for surveillance, as an estimated 5,691,594,000 Ugandan shillings is required for laboratory, whereas 13,354,780,000 shillings will be needed for public health risk communication and community engagement, with a projected 27,171,105,000 Ugandan shillings required for case management and mental health, 4,734 Ugandan million shillings required for quarantine, and 2,202,000,000 shillings required for WASH. The ministry also seeks 472 million shillings for SIRI activities and strategic innovation, 15,794,000 for logistics, 593,398,750 for continuity of essential health services, and 2,919,000,000 shillings to be allocated for UPDF support for the EVD response teams. All this totaling to over 90 billion shillings. Dr. Atwine revealed that the authorities will tighten screening and movement restrictions at key entry points along the Uganda Democratic Republic of Congo border as part of intensified Ebola prevention measures.
Teams are already at the border points. The teams are already in the districts. They are sweeping through all those potential areas of risk.
She also assured the stakeholders that the 90 billion Ugandan shillings allocated for Ebola preparedness and response will be utilized in line with the approved guidelines.
Emphasizing mutual accountability, but embedded in transparency. Uganda, we like transparency.
Amwaye Vanjuko for UBC.
If we don't have any
Somchara. Yes, Daddy. You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later.
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get more goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app.
time for business. Now, the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development has cautioned the public about the expected rise in fuel prices in the coming months, while assuring Ugandans of sufficient fuel stocks. Engineer Irene Batebe, the Permanent Secretary at the Energy Ministry, attributed the anticipated price increase to global market disruptions arising from tensions in the Middle East.
The continued instability in the Middle East, particularly disruptions affecting the Strait of Hormuz, has begun to impact Uganda, with fears that the consequences could worsen if the situation persists.
As we start lifting products that we ordered after the conflict, we are starting to bring in product priced based on the international prices following the commencement of the conflict. As we enter the month of May, going into June, we are starting to see an appreciation in the price, and I believe you've already seen this on your different pump stations where you access this petroleum product.
Uganda, like the rest of the East African region, has been affected because a substantial share of its petroleum imports originates from the Arabian Gulf. The standoff between the United States of America and Iran over the Strait of Hormuz, coupled with restricted passage of very large crude carriers and fuel tankers, has led to increased international prices for crude oil, diesel, petrol and jet fuel, alongside rising freight and insurance costs. We
continue to monitor, of course, the progress of this conflict, which we expect that as we enter June, hopefully it will subside. And once that happens, we enter what we call the recovery months of this conflict, probably 3 to 4 months of recovery for us to get back to normal operations to the extent that is possible.
Government says it will continue closely monitoring the market to ensure continuity of supply while discouraging smuggling, diversion of fuel products and hoarding in order to protect consumers and the economy.
I can comfortably say and assure the citizens that there is no hoarding we have witnessed or we have been able to get at the moment. Nonetheless, in the unlikely event that you feel so and so is hoarding, we are available. Please reach us. You be a whistleblower. Let us know, and then we will be able to move and deal with such as citizens in accordance with the law.
The ministry has further called upon the public to avoid panic buying and disregard misleading information circulating on social media regarding fuel shortages across the country.
Motorists in Uganda should be prepared to dig deeper into their pockets in order to power their engines. This is according to the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, Engineer Irene Batebe. She attributes this to the current blockade at the Strait of Hormuz. Dennis Igoa for UBC.
Series. Perfect snap, any zoom. Enjoy 9 GB free MTN data valid for 3 months. Available in any Techno or MTN outlet near you. MTN is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Are you looking for a home away from home? Then this is the place for you. My name is Chini Kaji, and welcome to Hotel Le Confidential.
With 84 comfortable rooms where you can relax and feel safe. Each room has a lovely view of green vegetation, Wi-Fi, air conditioning, and a tasty breakfast.
Children can have fun at our kids' water park and our kids' play area. You can also enjoy our world-class health club, spa, sauna, gym, boutique, and sky blue swimming pool.
Thank you for choosing Hotel Le Confidential, where every stay is unforgettable. Come and stay in comfort, right at home, today, tomorrow, and always.
And into the world of sports, with 25 days to the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the US, Canada and Mexico, concerns over Ebola and spectators coming from DRC continue to rise. Now FIFA says they are trying to monitor the situation while the camp in Kinshasa has been cancelled.
The DRC qualified for the 2026 World Cup in March after coming through a long playoff series. It's their first since 1974, when the country was known as Zaire. Qualification sparked scenes of wild jubilation across a nation battered by decades of conflict. However, their preparations have been hit by another outbreak of Ebola in the eastern Congo and neighboring Uganda. Health officials say the situation is continuing to deteriorate.
But at present, the situation is not yet under control. There are still a lot of detections. That is, we are still diagnosing positive cases. And there are also cases that we are looking for in the community, in healthcare structures and health institutions.
As the death toll continues to rise, DRC football authorities have cancelled a planned 3-day training camp and a huge send-off for the team in the capital, Kinshasa. But it's perhaps a small price to pay for the massive efforts by health workers to contain the spread of the disease in affected areas. The World Health Organization says it could take up to 9 months before a vaccine against this particular strain of Ebola is ready. It has now declared a public health emergency of international concern, but said it was not at pandemic level.
Beyond the confirmed cases, there are almost 600 suspected cases and 139 suspected deaths. We expect those numbers to keep increasing, given the amount of time the virus was circulating before the outbreak was detected.
The Leopards' preparations will now take place elsewhere. The squad itself is largely outside the problem, with all the players best in other leagues around the world, mostly France. The DRC is scheduled to play World Cup warm-up games against Denmark, Belgium and Chile, and these are expected to go ahead as planned. The Leopards are in Group K and opened their campaign against Portugal in Houston on June 17th before facing Colombia and Uzbekistan. Enoxikolia, CGTN.
And that's all we had time for. Once again, thank you so much for allowing us into your space. My name is Patricia Lukoma. Mpango Elizabeth Nakakone has been with us on Sign Language. Let's meet again at 10 o'clock.
UBC